Picture this, an island under siege, with only 700 knights standing between the world's largest empire and the heart of Europe. In 1565, the small island of Malta became the stage for an epic last stand that changed history. Against impossible odds, a few hundred warriors defied the powerful Ottoman Empire in a battle that would echo through time. This is the legendary Siege of Malta, where sheer determination turned the tide against a seemingly unstoppable force. In the mid-1500s, the Ottoman Empire was one of the world's great superpowers. Under the rule of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, they controlled vast territories, stretching from North Africa to the Middle East, and even deep into Europe. Their next goal? Complete control over the Mediterranean Sea and Europe beyond. And there was one island blocking their way, Malta. Malta was a small but strategic outpost. The Ottoman Sultan knew that conquering it would open up Europe to future invasions. The island was defended by a fierce group known as the Knights of St. John, Christian warriors who had battled Muslim forces for centuries. Though small in number, they had a reputation for resilience and were prepared to defend Malta to their last breath. Suleiman gathered a massive army, nearly 40,000 soldiers strong, to crush the Knights once and for all. This would be one of the largest invasions of the century. By comparison, the defenders on Malta, just 700 knights, joined by around 8,000 soldiers and Maltese locals, were dwarfed by the Ottoman force. With the Ottomans on their way, the knights began to make their final preparations. Jean de Valette, the Grand Master of the Order, divided his forces across three major fortifications: Fort St Elmo, Fort St Angelo, and Fort St Michael. Each of these forts was strategically positioned to control Malta's harbors and prevent the Ottomans from advancing further inland. On May 18, 1565, the Ottoman forces arrived and began their assault on Fort St Elmo. This small, heavily fortified outpost was crucial to controlling the Grand Harbor. The Ottomans knew that if they could take St Elmo, the rest of Malta would soon fall. They began a relentless bombardment, pounding the fort with cannon fire day and night. Despite the fierce assault, the knights at Fort St Elmo refused to give up. They worked through the night, reinforcing walls and tending to the wounded. The siege dragged on for over a month, with hundreds of Ottoman soldiers losing their lives in the attempt to take this one fort. Eventually, after immense casualties on both sides, the Ottomans overran St Elmo. Though the Ottomans claimed victory at Fort St Elmo, it came at a high cost. They lost nearly 8,000 men just to capture this single outpost. Meanwhile, de Valette and his men used the time bought by St Elmo's defenders to further strengthen the main forts of St Michael and St Angelo. With Fort St Elmo taken, the Ottomans turned their attention to Fort St Michael and Fort St Angelo. These fortifications were the heart of Malta's defenses, built with high walls and strategically placed battlements. Ottoman commanders believed it was only a matter of time before these forts would fall as well, but they underestimated the will of the defenders. The Ottoman forces launched repeated attacks. They used ladders to scale the walls, siege towers to advance their men, and battering rams to weaken the gates. But every time they advanced, the knights countered with incredible ferocity. They poured boiling oil and fire down on the attackers, while cannon and gunfire erupted from the walls. The defenders fought with an unbreakable spirit. Jean de Valette, now nearly 70 years old, personally led counterattacks, inspiring his men to hold on. Though outnumbered, the defenders used every tactic and resource at their disposal, creating an impenetrable defense. As the weeks passed, the situation grew desperate for the defenders. Supplies were running low, and they were constantly under attack. The Ottomans, sensing victory, intensified their efforts, sending in waves of fresh soldiers to break the defenders' resistance. But the resolve of the knights and the Maltese people only grew stronger. Then, after 3 grueling months of non-stop fighting, reinforcements from Sicily were sighted on the horizon. This sight alone broke the morale of the Ottoman forces, who realized they could not withstand a fresh wave of defenders joining the battle. The Ottomans, weakened by losses and weary from the prolonged siege, began to retreat. They had thrown everything they had at Malta, only to be turned away by a small but resolute group of defenders. The Siege of Malta ended in defeat for the Ottoman Empire, with an estimated 30,000 of their soldiers lost. The defenders had endured unimaginable conditions, with many giving their lives to protect their island. For Jean de Valette and his knights, it was a bittersweet victory, one achieved against all odds, but with heavy losses. For Malta, this battle became a source of pride, a testament to resilience and unity in the face of overwhelming power. The siege was seen as a turning point in the Ottoman-Habsburg Wars, showing Europe that the Ottoman Empire could indeed be resisted. It was a victory that reverberated through Europe, inspiring a renewed sense of hope and courage. The legend of the Siege of Malta grew in the years that followed, turning the Knights of St. John and their Grand Master Jean de Valette into enduring symbols of courage and sacrifice. Today, the Siege of Malta is remembered as one of the most heroic last stands in history. From the rebuilt forts to the stories told across Europe, the memory of the Siege of Malta lives on, reminding us of what a few determined people can accomplish against overwhelming odds. It's a story of resilience, sacrifice, and the enduring will to fight for freedom. If you found this story of Malta's defenders as inspiring as we do, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Share your thoughts below. Which other incredible battles would you like to explore with us? Until next time, keep history alive, here on The World in Focus.